Hey, good morning, guys. Today we have Ezekiel number 30. It's entitled Egypt and Her Allies Will Fall, and the proclamation against Pharaoh. One thing that I see here is that this is a proclamation against five countries. The Lord mentions five countries here, mentions 9 cities, to show you how big He is. He is the creator of this universe, and actually this earth sits in the palm of His hand. But as we've been talking about God going against these great cities and great countries, I mean, here in this one chapter, he notes five countries and at least 9 cities. But it's not the point that I really want to get to today. I want to look at in verse 9. It says, "On that day, messages shall go forth from me in ships." Okay, I think this is a real key to showing us that everything here has been sent by God. He says they're coming forth from me. I sent them. So what I want to do is pick up three quick little points that I noticed that God uses here. Verse 10, it says, "And great anguish shall come upon them." God uses pain. He uses pain in our lives he'll send it in different ways, but to do different things, and ultimately it's all to bring us closer to Him. Think about Jesus, and just before He went on that cross, He was beaten, scourged, and God used that pain for us. He used that pain to say, "I have been beaten for your iniquities." We move on down into verse 12. It says, God uses people. It says, "I will make the land waste and all that is in it by the hand of aliens." Okay, this doesn't mean aliens coming from outer space. This means aliens from other countries. This is God uses people to accomplish His will. He will use people to push us closer to Him. He will use people sometimes even to push us further from the person because of their involvement in sin in our lives, and should ultimately push us closer to Him. Think about the religious leaders around Jesus. God used those people to accomplish His will in Jesus' life. You go down a little more in verse 13. It says, "I will put fear in the land of Egypt." You see, God uses fear as well. Now, there is, when we look in Timothy, it says that there is a spirit of fear. Okay, this is from the devil. That's not from God. Now, God will sometimes unleash that and give him a little bit of a rein to go and do what he wants to, that spirit. But God, there is a healthy fear that comes from God, and God will use that. He will use that fear to draw you closer to Him. Okay, and I remember when my wife was in the hospital, and there was fear of the future in me, but God used that fear. The only thing I could do when I had quiet time was drop to my knees and cry out to God. And when I say cry, I mean tears and everything. Cry. And you see, God used that fear to pull me closer to Him. God used that fear to have intimate time, and I'm a little saddened that it had to come to that to get me to that point where I am that close to Him. But God will use that fear, and I think here in verse 15 is what God is why He had to do all these things. It says, "I will pour my fury on sin, the strength of Egypt." You see, God does not want your sin to be your foundation. Okay, God does not want your sin to be what you build your life on. He wants His word. He wants your relationship with Him to be your foundation. If you go back in verse 4, it says, "Her foundations," speaking of Egypt, "are broken down." You see, God does not want your life to be built on things that are eventually created to tear you down, on things that are eventually going to lead you to hell. He wants our lives to be built on the foundation of His love and our relationship for Him because of who He is, not what He does. So, hey, I love you all, and I hope you got something out of this. But God uses pain, He uses people, and He uses fear. I love you all. Have a super day.